Hello, how are you? Today I'm going to tell you about the main signs that our body gives us. Physical signs that you can actually see on your body that indicate your liver is fatty, that you have a buildup of fat in your liver. It's very important for us to be able to notice the signs our body gives us that something isn't working quite right. And these signs are really interesting. You're going to love this video, so stay until the end. You won't want to miss it. Before we start, I want to ask you if you've ever been diagnosed with fatty liver, or if you've ever had any changes in your blood tests, or even in an abdominal ultrasound. How did you find out about your liver problem? Did you already have any symptoms? I would love to see your comment. Go ahead and leave a like on the video. That's super important to me. This shows YouTube, in fact, that you support the channel and trust my content. If you know someone who has fatty liver, share this video. Let's help more people together. That's what I want here with the channel. Let's start by talking about some things that can show up on a person's skin. A very clear sign that may indicate fat accumulation in the liver is acanthosis nigricans. It is generally seen as a thickening and darkening of the skin, mainly in areas with folds like the neck or armpits. This often happens on the neck, around the elbows, in the crease of the arm, in the armpits, in the groin, and also behind the knees, which are common areas where the skin forms folds. Any area that experiences more friction and rubbing can develop this accumulation, and it is closely related to hyperinsulinemia. We know that many people with elevated insulin levels may have metabolic syndrome, and this metabolic syndrome is a major risk factor, specifically for the accumulation of fat in the liver. And this whole mechanism is very interesting because the more carbohydrates you consume, which quickly turn into glucose, the faster this glucose enters the bloodstream. So what does your body do to store all this glucose? It secretes more insulin, in other words, hyperinsulinemia. And when you secrete more insulin, either because you consume too many carbohydrates or because your body is already very insensitive to insulin, already has a lot of insulin resistance. What happens then? More insulin, and then the body starts taking this excess glucose and storing it as triglycerides, as fat, and preferably in this region here, the central visceral abdominal area, which is precisely the liver region. So, a sign of insulin resistance is often a sign of fat in the liver, and this correlation has already been scientifically proven. Another sign our skin gives us is skin tags. These are small, wart-like growths that appear scattered across the body. Maybe you've seen someone who has these skin tags. They really look like lots of little warts, and they're tiny, and they can be on the face, on the neck area, on the back, really all over the body. And once again, it's a sign that our body gives us of hyperinsulinemia. Very often as well, it is correlated with another sign, which is an increase in abdominal circumference. Of course, when we think about fat in the liver, we think about greater accumulation in this visceral region here. And when we think about greater fat accumulation in this region, we think about an increase in abdominal circumference. It's worth noting that many times people can have an increase in abdominal circumference without a significant weight gain. Because another sign that can also occur is a decrease in muscle mass, which is something quite relevant and interesting to pay attention to. Sometimes weight doesn't fluctuate much. In some cases it fluctuates a lot, but there are cases described in the literature where a person's weight changes very little. That's because muscle mass decreases over time due to these metabolic and insulin-related issues as well. And the accumulation of fat in the visceral and central region is so pronounced that one thing kind of offsets the other. This is what we call a skinny fat person. There are people who have thin legs and thin arms, but have a lot of fat accumulation here in this region, visceral and central, and this is a systemic set of insulin resistance, and it can be a major sign of fat accumulation in this region in the liver area. Another sign the body gives is the accumulation of fat in the neck when a person has a very thick neck. This is precisely a sign that insulin resistance is already happening and has been happening for a longer period of time. So, there can be this accumulation of fat in the cervical region of the body as well, and this fat can increase the circumference of the neck. This, in fact, can lead to another complication, which is sleep apnea. And we know that sleep apnea in the medium and long term can be harmful and dangerous to our lives. I have a video here on the channel talking about it as well. I'll leave it down below in the description for you. Another sign the body can show is xanthelasmas, those yellowish plaques that usually appear around a person's eyelids. They're not exactly warts, but small accumulations of fat beneath the skin that can become noticeable over time. In this area of the face, it can be related to dyslipidemia, that is, an altered or higher concentration of fats in the blood, mainly cholesterol and triglycerides, which can reflect metabolic imbalance. And we know that dyslipidemia is often associated with this issue of fat accumulation in the liver area as well. So that's another point to pay attention to. Another sign our body gives is bodily swelling. That person who retains more fluid, and this is also associated with hyperinsulinemia, which is an excess of insulin circulating in our body. We also know that this increase in insulin raises low-grade chronic inflammation. I have a video here on the channel talking about the 5 signs your body gives that it's more inflamed. I'll leave it down below in the description for you. But we already know that more insulin leads to greater fluid retention, which causes this generalized swelling. Another sign is telangiectasias. In other words, those spider-shaped veins. It's like there are several tiny vessels with a slightly larger point in the center, sometimes purplish or reddish, which can also be associated with impaired liver function and even fatty liver itself. So when we look, our body gives us several signs that something isn't right, but sometimes we just don't pay attention. That's why it's so important for us to pay attention when we take a shower, look in the mirror, and check ourselves, to see how our skin is and to check what signs our body is giving us. We know that if you have any of these signs, it's obviously important for you to actually go to a doctor and check whether you really have fatty liver or not. And fatty liver is often silent, which is its biggest problem. Sometimes even the liver enzyme tests come back normal, but when the person gets an abdominal ultrasound, it's already being detected. Even moderate fat, a moderate accumulation of fat in the liver doesn't hurt, it's silent. So it's important to pay attention to these signs your body gives that something is wrong and seek help to check if there really is an issue or not. To get a diagnosis, you need to see a doctor. This video here is for informational purposes only. It's just to let you know that these things exist so you can seek help in your city. And remember, if you have any kind of liver problem, it's also important to have a nutritionist follow up with you because they will definitely tell you to cut back simple carbohydrates, excess sugar to reduce insulin resistance, and they'll give you various dietary strategies like reducing inflammatory fats and increasing fiber intake. I have an entire playlist here with everything about the liver with lots of important tips. There's one about foods and the liver, including which are the best and worst and how to choose them. So it's really important that we change our diet and lifestyle and exercise to protect our liver, this organ that is so important to us. Now, I want to know from you, did you already realize that you have any of these signs? Did you notice that you have more than one? Tell me down below in the comments. I would love to see your comment. Remember to like the video. It really helps me out here on the channel. And share it with anyone you think might need this help. Let's expand our chain of kindness. That's what I want here with the channel. See you next time. Bye.